Thanks a lot, EG, for having me here. And please guys relax. It's not that serious an affair. If you don't ask questions, there's no point of you being here. So, if you have any questions on any slide, just raise your hand and I'll grab an answer. So, a quick recap of my story. I did my undergrad from a non-IIT. I wish there was an I before that ITM, but it's not there. But so that was my undergrad. Then I applied to 6 schools. And usually, I'm pretty sure all of you are aware that we usually have 3 brackets when you apply. The dream, the practical, and the safe. So in my dream, I had Columbia MSNE, Cornell Engineering ECN. Practical, I was LEC and Dartmouth. And safe, Duke and USC Derby. So these abbreviations are MSNE is Management Science and Engineering. MEM is Masters in Engineering Management. As was told, I eventually got through all of these schools and decided to opt for Columbia. So the second bullet says that I attribute a major portion of my success to peer review. What do I mean by that? It's kind of elucidated in the third point that it's a cycle of continuous refinement of optimization technique that basically validates that I'm an engineer and I know these fancy terms. So basically, I reached out to a lot of people. I started applying when I was in my 3rd year, in my 5th semester, if I'm not wrong, yeah. So I reached out to a lot of people, most of my family's in the US, so, sought their help, asked for referrals, talked to these people. Got my paperwork refined in each and every stage. So it was very tedious process and also very time consuming. It took me about 8 months to come up with my final draft of SOP from the time I started out. So one of the advantages of being in a non-IIT is that we have a lot of time for applying. So I was like totally in the apply mood. So I applied to, I got my paperwork refined, asked for feedback. So I reached out to, if I'm not wrong, close to 500 alumni from the top 15 schools in the world. And as most of you might be aware, that the hit rate is really low. It's about 1% or even less than that. So, your actual hits, like the actual people who revert back, and finally the people who actually help you, is really small. So I'm like, out of those 500 people, about 25 or 30 agreed to, have a look at my SOP and pass on the comments. And those comments are invaluable. So, that's what I'm getting at, is that the reason why, I've flown you all the way from New York, to just address this gathering, and I was also there at Bombay and Chennai, is that I personally believe, I strongly believe that it's always better to seek guidance from someone who has tread that path, who has actually applied and gone through the schools. So I believe that EG's USP is that they have people like us who basically help out their mentors and their counselors. So after the initial stages, we have a look at the paperwork and pass some comments. So I believe that's what's going to add the most value. I'm not saying EGA, but when you actually go through the process, you figure out that this is the most integral component. After a threshold, everyone has good scores, everyone has a decent GPA. So what's the make or break factor? What is Ivy League? So Ivy League is a conglomeration of 8 private schools in northeastern US. Most of you would be aware. It comprises of Harvard, Columbia, Cornell, Princeton, Brown, Dartmouth, University of Pennsylvania, and Yale. They consistently feature as the best schools in the world and can be thought of as analogous to the IITs and IIMs of the world. So they have decent brand reputation all over the world. So I have this grudge against the IITs as they didn't take me in, so I was put up on these points. So certain Ivy League myths. It's not a copyright of IIT and IIM alumnus, right? I'm here. I know a few people who are also from non-IIT backgrounds. So the way I look at it is that you have to be pragmatic when you think about it. When you know that you're already starting from a level below, you say you're starting from -1, then you have to put in that extra effort. You have to go that extra yard to start competing actually. So realizing that this is your weak point, you have to work hard in your remaining points and try to attain a certain threshold level. It's not mandatory to have 40-50 plus in GRE. I had a 40-50, I got through. I know a few people who are even below that. they also get through it. So in the next slides, I also have what I feel is the the different grades in the different components of the application. So I'll get to that. It's also not imperative to have a 3.9% in your undergraduate degree. I had a 3.8. So I'm the main breaker here. Cannot get into a grad program without prior experience. No, I have no experience. I got straight through. So certain facts that you should be aware of. They are extremely selective. It's not easy to get in. They have very low acceptance rates. As you can, you go to Wiki, you type in Ivy League, you will see the acceptance rates there. As I said, they have very broad, strong brand information. But what is the value of an Ivy League education is that you get access to a pool of accomplished individuals, professionals, who are inadvertently one of the best firms in the world, in top positions. So basically, you're allowed to enter that elite group of individuals. You get the chance to network, you get a chance to talk to them. So basically, trust me, that's really going to help you in your professional life. If you want to change your job, if you want to apply for a job, networking, as we call it, is extremely important. So I'm actually also in the Columbia admissions committee. So I go through these paperwork, time and again. So I believe this is quite accurate, but it's on your discretion. SOBs is the critical factor. So I'll stress a bit more on that. Your statement of purpose is the most important criteria for you to get into a good school. So let's just think about it. Say, for example, so what's your name? Saurabh. Say Saurabh applies for Cornell, right? So usually certain good schools have a telephonic round. I'm sure Cornell has it as well. So that's about 20 minutes, and you really don't get to know a lot in those 20 minutes. So say I'm in the admissions committee and I want to, accept or reject Saurabh. So how do I know about Saurabh? It's those 2 sheets of paper that are my window to, what kind of person he is. Can he actually survive in this climate? What are the chances that he'll run away after the first semester? Seriously, these things happen. So I want to make sure that Saurabh gets out of my school with a decent GPA, gets into a good firm, and brings more name and fame to my school. That's my objective. And the window for me to look into Saurabh as an individual is that paperwork. These are those 2 sheets of paper. So each and every word that's written there must be put there with the utmost sincerity, and you should know it inside out. LORs 10%, your scores 10%, your GPA 10%. Certain schools have online questions as well. Common pitfalls. So as I told you, I have been as part of the admissions committee. So these are the big no's that you should not do, because when this happens, it's a straight rejection. You will just throw your application out. So most of the applicants, as was the case with me when I came into the first draft, it was like I'm the smartest guy in the world. I'm next to Superman. I can just fly. I can do anything. Right? That is not true. Everyone is not extra brilliant. Everyone is not super smart. No one can get cowboy flies out of their fingernails and climb buildings. That's not true. So don't think of it as a means of self-appraise. Think of it as a pragmatic way to put your opinion across. It's also not bad to put in good words about you, but you should support them with facts. For example, I say that a certain applicant, sort of waiting on you, Saurabh, but so Saurabh says that he came 3rd in his class. Fine. So what are the chances that there were 10 students in his class? Right? I don't know. So this is a weak statement in my opinion. If you had reframed it like, for example, I was, my department rank was 3 of 120, and I was in the top 2 percentile throughout my academic career, it makes a lot more sense than just saying I was 3. Doesn't make sense, right? So that's fluff, and the other example is content. So in my opinion, the ideal framework should be statement, validation. Statement, validation. But usually what happens is that it's just statement, which accounts to be fluff. Doesn't make sense, right? So if any of you disagree or have any points, please feel free to raise your hand, right? So as I said, avoid fluff. It's a big deterrent. A general metric that I think that I use for having look at applications is that the ratio of your quantitative information to your qualitative information, if it's really close to zero or it's tending to zero, you're bound to be doomed in a good school. If it's close to 1, then you have decent chances. Again, validation that I mentioned here. So, more pitfalls in my opinion. Failure to distinguish yourselves from the crowd. Okay, so how many of you here are engineers working in IT firms? Oh, sorry. I'm sorry for that. So let's what I'm trying to get across is that most of the applicants that come up for the PG program, they are engineers, right? With working in an IT firm, Infosys TCS, 2 years of experience or none, and applying to school. So you don't want 20 students or 25, with this background. And this is the general background that Indians apply with. So this won't distinguish you from the crowd. You have to put in points that separate you. Your extracurriculars, what you do different, that you start your club. So you being a geek will also not distinguish yourself. Say you have a 1580 GRE, 4.0 GPA, but you have done nothing outside the classroom. That's a big no, right? Geeks usually don't make it. So as I said, I have nothing against certain agencies, but sometimes what happens is that people trust, counselors and mentors who have never even been abroad, let alone applying. So had I been in your shoes, I would have been a lot more comfortable at that organization, had some association with people who have actually done that. That is the point I'm trying to get across. Yeah, this is the EG USP, and that's why we are taking out the time to be here. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for doing it.